All right, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, and it is lovely to see you here on this Thursday for day 4 of the Premiere Pro Daily Creative Challenge. So today, as you may have seen in the title, we're going to focus on dynamic storytelling, which really is, well, I don't know. What it's about today is multi-camera. So telling your story and really creative story editing using a multicam sequence. So I dug up a live musical performance from my archives, which you'll notice when you see the hair. And it'll just be kind of a fun experiment. Also, if you've never played around with multicam, it's just a lot of fun. And you can get super creative in the ways that you do the edits with multi-camera footage. So we're going to probably spend the bulk of today. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 different methods for synchronizing and putting the multicam sequence together. I've made it really easy for you, but I'm going to show you a couple of different ways, and then I'm also going to call out where you can find little quick tutorials on all the things that we've covered this week around the Daily Creative Challenge. So just before we get started, quick housekeeping schedule update. So you're with me for the next 29 minutes or so. Then we've got the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge at 9, hand lettering from 9:30 to 11:30. At 11:30, we have the Illustrator DCC with Julia. At noon, we've got web design. 2 o'clock, the XD Daily Creative Challenge. And then at 2:30 today, Design in the Dark with Jordan and Andrew. Now, as mentioned, all this week, of course, if you're not already following the Daily Creative Challenge for Premiere, you can access that by going to behance.net/challenge/premiere. All right, so this is where, of course, you can download all of the assets. You can be notified as things are happening in the future. It's a great way to kind of get started with all of this. There's also a link in here to join the community chat, which you can find on Discord. So this is where we want you, of course, to submit your daily creative challenges. bit.ly/PR Discord. I've said it all week. I've said it a couple months ago. It's just an amazing community that we've cultivated over the last couple of months, and really encouraging, really inspiring. So highly recommend and invite you to check us out there. Okay, so before we get started, of course, quick round of hellos. Nice to see everyone. Al Seaman, how's it going? Uma Korn, F. Smittick from San Antonio. Aria, how are you? Tim, as always, great to see you. Sean, it's dynamic. Nice to see you as well. Steve Festus Kosoboom, great to see you as well. Cal and Valder, Harvey, Heidi Russell, Ken and Joe. All right, and Aaron, My Art World, iMosty. Joe Satriani is with us. Very nice to see you, Joe. Got to see you with Deep Purple 26 years ago or something like that. You were amazing. On Call, Genius Boy, VFX, great to see you. And then, of course, over on my YT, we've also got Jim and Stephanie. All right, and then coming to us over on the Periscope, QWERTY David, Dougalos, and Shoddy. Great to see you. Okay, and it looks like, I don't know if my channel stream is going to be working or not. It's getting some weird bitrate thing, so we're not going to worry about that. Okay, NLCC the story. Hi. Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's kick into it. Oh, did that schedule not change, Tim? Oh, you know what? Flaggle gaggle. You know what? You're right. I think it. I didn't save that project yesterday. Oh, for heaven's sake! Nah. Oh, I just can't stand my own stupid errors. So let's rewind and do that again. Oh, I'm so frustrated. Okay. So, as mentioned. Actually, it wasn't as mentioned because I said the wrong schedule. 9 o'clock, Photoshop DCC. 9:30, video editing. 11:30, Illustrator DCC. Noon, editorial design. 2 o'clock, XD DCC. 2:30, draw along with Kyle. And 3 o'clock, a design off with Voodoo Val and Emmy. Ugh. Oh, I just annoy myself. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, enough of that. Let's go and get started, friends. Okay, so I'm assuming now that by now you've already downloaded the multicam clips, and we're going to get fired up and get started. Now, as I mentioned, I wanted to make this really easy. Multicam in general is actually a pretty simple thing to do. There's always a couple of considerations. How are you going to synchronize? Do you have any sync points? Did you use timecode? Do you have clapboard markers across all of your tracks? Some way to sync manually or visually or with markers or many other different methods. So we're going to cover about 3 of these, all right? Now, one thing, and we started this on day 1, working with markers. The reason I wanted to bring up markers on day 1 is because I've taken advantage of markers in this footage as well. So just real quickly, a real brief, and I'll let you see a couple seconds of all this stuff, of course. So this is from my, this still as yet to be released fully children's music show that I shot almost a decade ago. You can see by the hair and the burns there. Look at that. I had strands of gray, individual strands of gray. My hair was so dark. So this is an old performance, a song of mine, a country song. So this was from an episode where we were featuring different styles of music, and I was covering country. So this is a country song, kind of a rock and roll country song. And we have 4 different live videos here. And for, from the same performance, right? So obviously I had to overdub myself. Drums, piano, and vocal were live, overdubbed bass. So just to kind of give you a quick look here so you can kind of get an idea. So here is like my buddy Chip. And at the beginning of each of these, there's a little bit of pre-roll. And then on each of these tracks, so each video has its own corresponding native audio file that I 10 years ago did a rough mix of and kind of burned to this video track. So you're going to hear kind of a rough mix of each of the instruments isolated by themselves. And then on each of these, because it was live multi-tracked in Audition, across all the tracks there are clapboard markers. So that's printed on each one of these on each one of the audio tracks for the video. So take a quick look and listen here. So here's Chip. All right, so this is like false start take. Okay, and then here's a bit of the piano here. So just wind this one back. Hear a little bit of the vocal bleed. A vampire puppet musical. I just watched Sarah Marshall like 4 or 5 days ago, so that's so perfect. That's so very my mood too. Okay, so piano. All right, and this, by the way, was the only shot with an actual moving camera. I was, I think, no, these were done in camera, but it was locked down. So again, this one was like handheld, the one roaming cameraman here. Then here's the bass track. Now, for this bass track specifically, I'm calling this out. I somehow lost, or maybe I don't know what happened, but I lost the actual video of the take of the bass that I wound up using. So this is a different take performance, but with the synchronized audio. So I'm playing almost the same thing, but it's all kind of live improv. So it's not exactly the same, but it works, and it'll work in the context of a multicam edit. Obviously, a couple times though, you'll see like if I'm going, maybe actually I'm going, so. But it's fine. All right, so just a quick look and listen here. Playing the Rickenbacker 4003. And if you just want to listen to the sound of the Rickenbacker, I mean, just gives me chills every time. This is my baby. I mean, I have 2, but this is really the first one, circa 1989. And lastly, this is the vocal take from the piano. Now, again, really interesting. So on the day of, hair is so dark. we did the take. I think we did this in 2 or 3 takes, and take 1 or take 2 was the best. I can't remember now. But at some point on that day, I must have, at the piano, just laid down about 4 or 5 harmonies and a double of the lead, just to kind of thicken it out. I never finished. We never finished this. I mean, the performance is basically done, but we never finished the song because we didn't finish the show. So there's just all these stacked vocals. Well, I didn't know that I had these stacked vocals, and when I went back to each of these clips, I found them all, and they're all contained on here. So you're going to hear like a 4 or 5 part harmony and some unisons on this piano track, on this vocal track. Take a look here.
Every day I catch a glimpse of your beautiful smile, so I get myself together, which can sometimes take a while. I have been too hard to pound it, and this I can't deny. Shh. Carrie Ann, I wanna be your man. I should be working on my moves, shining up my shoes, coming up with some kind of plan. I haven't got a lot of money, honey, love is all you need to make it last.
Okay. So again, I don't even remember doing that. Those are just live, very off-the-cuff harmonies, not particularly great, and also dry. So I didn't really do anything. The only thing that I had to go back in and remix, again, was the bass one. But all of these were basically just rough mixed and thrown on and burned in that day. I mean, we were trying, we cut 11 or 12 episodes of this show in 2 or 3 days. It was pretty amazing. But then, as I found out, I was left with just a gaggle of footage and no one to help me do it all. So, which is partly why it never came out. Anyway, that's the native content. And then there is just the audio file. So again, this is a rough mix of everything kind of comped together with the clapboard markers in it as well.
Carrie Ann, I wanna be your man.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's so hard to see me with my hair tied back. Tell me about it. I know it feels like a long time ago. And with my Elvis chops, which I had for a too long of a time. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to synchronize this. Now, you may have already noticed that on each of these, I have already placed a marker for you at the beginning of the first clapboard. So that exists on all of these. Again, we're going to go into our wrench menu here, into the audio waveform view. And you can see right there's our marker at the first clap at the beginning of the drum track here, okay? And the reason I did that was to make it easier for you to manually sync. Now, the thing is, even though I have the same clapboard markers, those 2 marks across all 5 of these tracks, our audio sync, at least for me, and the 1 or 2 times I tried it, it didn't find those. Because remember, each of these tracks has different audio on them. So, and then of course the rough mix is a compilation of everything. So it didn't work. So in an effort to make it easier, I added the markers in there for you. So I'm going to show you quickly 3 ways now how you can sync all this together. First, totally manually. No markers, just use your eyes. And this is a skill which once you kind of develop this, it's going to make life a lot easier. People seem to have a lot of fear when it comes to like manually syncing multicam. Now, if you've got 30 cameras, yes, that could be a drag. But for 4 cameras, it's not a big deal. And if you've got something consistent across all of them, it's really pretty easy. You want to start with the longest track here because it has like the most pre-roll and everything else. So we're going to start with vocals only, okay? So our vocal performance. So from there, we're going to right-click, control-click, and choose New Sequence from Clip, placing that into a new sequence. Now, because we've got basically five tracks here, 4 videos and 1 audio track, we need to add a couple of tracks in here. So before you do anything else, if you right-click or control-click in the dead space, in like the available gray space here, we're going to go to Add Tracks. All right. And let's add, we'll add 1 video track after video 3. That's fine. And then for audio tracks, we're going to add 1 after audio 3. All right, so that'll give us all 4. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to do 1 more because I want to add an audio track before the first track. That's where the audio file is going to go, the mix, okay? up on track 1, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, so maybe we start there. Let's go ahead and grab the Carrie Ann rough mix. By the way, the waveform is so obvious. Yes, right? It's so good. This was a true story. So I used to be a country songwriter years ago. Have a couple of those songs out in the wild. And this tells the story of a girl. I was in my early 20s. I met her at a university bookstore or coffee shop. I can't remember what it was in Nashville. And this is the deal. I wanted to be her man. Unfortunately, she didn't want to be my woman, which is sometimes the case. So, hey, nothing ever happened. I basically wrote this song for her. We were total strangers. I was like, hey, I saw you once before. Now when I think about it, how freaking creepy. I saw her like in the coffee shop a couple times. I wrote a song about it. I remember handing her a Sony Sports Walkman, the yellow ones with the yellow hard earbuds. Had her listen to it in the university store, and she's probably going, what the, who the, what? And I had a studio, so it was like a professionally recorded thing, but singing about her. And I only knew her name because she had a name tag that said Carrie Ann. And I think I gave her my number. Never heard from her. Never went back in the bookstore again. Okay. So, yes. And for anyone also inquiring, I was doing additional studies at Belmont University in Nashville after I graduated from Berkeley. So that's why I was there. It wasn't just like hanging out on the college campus. Okay. So waveform sync. Now again, forget the markers for a second. And in fact, if you really want to do it just kind of raw, you can turn off your snapping so that it doesn't automatically try to snap in time. Now, you may or may not always be able to get exactly on the right frame, but as long as you're close enough, your sync should be fine. You want to hit the plus key so that you're zoomed in all the way to frame level, so that if you advance, right, left or right here, we're moving one frame at a time. All right? And if I kind of zero in on the camera track here, which is at the beginning of our timeline, now if I grab this, again, if I go back a frame, all right, so now the remix is a little bit after the piano take. If I go reverse back, it's slightly before. That's close enough. That's going to work just fine, okay? So these two are in sync. Let's do the next one. Let's go ahead and grab our drums. All right, we'll drag the drums into here, okay? And, oh, whoops, sorry, I placed the drum audio down there. But that's actually fine. It doesn't matter because we're not going to use that audio anyway. But you should be mindful of that I just kind of overwrote the piano there. Okay, so I'm going to expand the drum track as well. Now I got to look for that clapboard. There it is. All right, so it's all the way down here. All right, zoom into frame level. All right, that's after. That's before. Those two look pretty close. We're good to go. By the way, I can also just like re-add those back in. And to prevent that from happening, if I disable the track targeting on this, that won't happen again. That was my bad for overwriting those. If you should get into that situation here. I'll tell you, this is one of the few times where I'm like, I really need 2 monitors because this kind of stuff could really drive me to drink. Okay. So we've got drums, we've got vocals, we've got the rough mix. Let's get the piano in there. And hopefully, let me make sure that this is targeting correctly. Grab the piano. Why is the audio, where's my piano audio? Where is my piano audio? It's there. Sorry, that's why I wasn't seeing it. Man, I'm telling you, what is happening to me today? All right. Piano. Again, we can see the clapboard markers at the beginning right here. But we're not focusing on the marker. We're just dragging in time, right? Looking at the waveforms, right? I always hit the tilde key on the US keyboard so I can go full screen on this panel. Zoom in, see them nice and big. So now here's an example where all right, so we're kind of getting slightly further away. Now remember, if I look at, the remix itself, there's the beginning. So do we want this a little before, a little after? Let's do it a little bit before, all right, rather than after. And now let's go into our last track here. All right. Number 5, which is going to be the bass. Okay. Why did I put it on track 6? I don't know exactly, but I'm not going to worry about that. And we want to shrink some of these other ones up here. Now I'm showing you this manually. You're going, wow, this is a lot of like zooming and stretching. Yeah, but it's really pretty easy and it works. All right. If you can do it manually, then once you do it the automated way, you'll be like, oh, that's way too simple. I like it old school. Okay. So again, now if I were just to play all of these things in time, again, done very quickly, we can go into our mixer here just for a second, and let's mute. Actually, let's just mute the master mix and let's play everything together and hear what it sounds like. It's in time. Oh, and where are the vocals? Oh, I cut those off, remember? Yes. Okay. So again, we've got all of our individual tracks here all playing nicely in time. Here's our master mix.
Every day I get a glimpse of your beautiful smile, so I get myself together, which can...
All right, and if we were to look at all the various tracks here, we could just verify that everything is in sync. I usually use the drums as my marker for that.
Sometimes take a while, I can feel my heart pounding and miss...
All right, so once you've got that done, what you can do is simply select all of your video tracks here, right-click, control-click, and choose Nest. All right, it's going to ask you to give it a name. All right, and it's going to create this nested multi-camera sequence. Right-click on that and choose Multi-Camera Enable. Shoot, man, we've only got 3 minutes. Now, you got to make sure that you have the multicam button enabled inside the video, inside your program monitor. The multi-camera button looks like this, okay? If you don't have that, you can go to the button editor by clicking on the plus sign. You want to look for this button right here. You're going to drag it down into your timeline like that. Okay, go ahead and click OK on that. Click the multicam button just like that. Okay, and now when we play this back, if I click on each of these cameras, it will change the cameras, and I can also do 1, 2, 3, 4 on the keyboard, and it'll allow me to modify and edit the cameras while it's playing back like this.
Carrie Ann, I wanna be your man. I should be working on the move, shining up my shoes, coming up with some kind of plan. I haven't got a lot of money, honey, love is all you need to make it last. Every day I get your glimpse.
Okay, and then if you look down below, you'll see now that it's made all of these cuts. Yes, because now all of those cuts have been translated, just like that. Cool thing here, if you zoom in, it'll show you what camera you're on. If you want to change the angle, you can right-click multi-camera, and then you can change the camera right there, live. All right, it just swaps out the camera angle, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Now, another way to do it. If we take all of the media that I created for you, minus the sequence that I just created, which is this. I don't want to select that one. So let's just select the media itself. Right-click, create multi-camera source sequence, and choose via unnamed marker. We're going to use clip marker here, okay? Because they've already got clip markers in them. Leave everything else at the default. Automatic, camera 1, automatic, enumerate cameras. You might have move source clips to process bin checked. You can leave that unchecked if you want. Go ahead and click OK. All right. And it builds, I'm going to just go into icon view here. It's going to build a sequence for you with this particular icon. Now, if you go ahead and open this, right-click and open in timeline, this is now showing you basically the stacked view of all the tracks, so it'll synchronize everything for you. How do you get into a multicam editing mode? Well, you can do the nest trick, as I showed you, or you can simply new sequence from this multi-camera sequence. All right, so you're basically you're doing the nest. New sequence from clip. Notice again, it comes in green like this. All right, Now you're in your multicam view again, and now you can start doing the same thing. All right, same process applies, okay? And then of course you can manually, just to show you one last thing here, if we started again with the vocals only, let's go ahead and place that on its own track. This is just a third method of synchronization. If I brought in, say, the piano, again, and I did the same thing with the audio. Oh, for heaven's sake. Let's bring the piano in here. Okay, turn on my snapping. Now as I snap, I don't know if you're going to see that with the tool tip down below. You can see how the cursor's turning gray here down below. All right, so this is telling me that the markers are snapped together. So you can simply snap the markers together in time. Last thing I want to show you here. I've created a playlist on my YouTube channel, Jason Levine Video. So youtube.com/Jason Levine Video, called Toots in Under 5. And it's a quick, less than 5-minute tutorial, minus 505 for the multicam, for each one of the daily creative challenge processes. So I highly recommend you check those out. Sorry, friends, can't answer anymore, but we're out of time. We've got the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge coming up next. So until then, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.